Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Fearless Generations with Terry Sayer and Kelly Fox.
Hello and welcome to Fearless Generations, 12 Steps to Freedom. This is Kelly Fox, and we are here tonight wrapping up Step 9, Intention. Tonight is Integration. Super excited. We are coming to you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We just got done with our coaches retreat, and we're spending a couple days over with friends. So let me welcome my beautiful co-host, Terry Sayer. How are you doing tonight, Terry?
I'm doing great. It's wonderful to be here.
It is. So we have on one of our favorite guests tonight, and she just happens to be in the room with us. Isn't that crazy? So please welcome Trish March.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here with Kelly and Terry this evening, just talking about intentions and fearless living.
Yes, we're super excited to have you. So we've been talking about intentions all month long. So why don't you start us off with, what does intention mean to you?
Well, I really use intention to, set the guardrails for my day, to set myself up for success and for all the things that I want to bring into the day and focus on for the day. So they're really the guardrails I use to kind of live my life. So it's exciting to talk about intentions and how else we can use them. I'm sure there's been many ways that you've talked about them over the last 3 weeks. So, but that's how I use intentions. How do you use them, Kelly Fox?
I feel like we've been talking this month about intention, and I feel like there's the step of intention and there's the tool of intention. And the step of intention, I feel, is our attitude and how we show up and who we want to be and how we practice being that person. And then the tool is a way to take action and be very clear and specific on what those intentions are. And I have an overarching intention, which is to trust myself more each day. And I've definitely been practicing that this weekend as I kind of run all of the backstage goings on at the workshop and retreat. And so just anytime I feel myself getting a little bit nervous or, too much in my head about what's going on and what could happen and what people are thinking or whatever might be happening, I just remind myself, to trust myself and that everything's going to work its way out and go the way it should. So that is how I continue to live my intention.
Fantastic.
So, Terry, what are your thoughts going on right now?
Yeah, I like the way that you delineate between the tool of writing intentions and the mindset of living intentionally. And really they go hand in hand, because until I began writing daily intentions and having an overarching intention, it's just kind of like, well, yeah, I want to get this done. This is the way I want to show up. This is what motivates me. This is what keeps me going. And it was not as mindful as when I actually write an intention down and then practice it. And I think part of the power for me of intentional living is that it's a practice. And a practice is a process. And I believe that giving yourself permission to practice something alleviates that need to be perfect at it, because I've talked to you many times about how I'm a recovering perfectionist. And really, intentions kind of eliminate that mindset of everything having to be perfect and doing things in a way that, is kind of rigid. So by just allowing myself to practice living intentionally and practice being mindful of my purpose and passion, and then using the tool itself of writing down daily intentions, which I do in my gratitude journal, and then having intentions in different areas of my life, say health, relationships, your career, you can really stay focused. And focus helps me then to take action. And really, an intention isn't really worth too much if you don't take action and practice it. So I like that delineation between intentional living and using the tool of writing intentions.
Well, thank you. Mm-hmm. So we've been talking about, or with different coaches this month, and learning different ways that we can be intentional and different tools that we can use. And as we just talked about, we talked about intention statements. So, Trish, is there anything else that you use in your own practice or with your clients to support them in being more intentional or whatnot?
Well, I typically marry my intentions and the practice of using intentions, that is, with goals, so that I can help my clients kind of drive their take personal responsibility and really drive their dreams forward, or take action on the things that they want to bring into their life. So I do use goals with my intentions, and of course, I'm sure you probably talked about that over the month. But I think that's one direction that I typically will take them in. I also use Stretch, Risk, or Die, which is a tool we talk about all the time in Fearless Living, because as we set goals and we want to take action on things, we want to figure out where our fear is and, what things, are easy for us to do because we know how to do them, and which things might be harder because we either don't know how to do them or they're just, too close to a die to complete. So I use those two tools most steadily. I use acknowledgments, acknowledging yourself for sticking with your intention and, moving forward with your goals. I think those are probably the basic ones. It really depends on the client, and also it depends on myself, because I do like to dabble and use the tools often in my life just to keep myself on track and moving forward as well. So all the ones that I've talked about are things that I'm using frequently to help me stay focused and move forward. I know with most of my clients, we talk often about our intentions. We'll set daily intentions, but we also set either a monthly, quarterly, or yearly intention that is more overarching, as you had mentioned earlier, both you and Terry mentioned. And that really gives you a chance to have something that you're working on throughout the year, or that you're willing to practice throughout the year. And then also, you can set your intentions if there's something stressful coming up with meetings, or, there's something that you need support with or want to work on, where you consciously want to take action. You want to, you consciously want to practice in order to support yourself, like a big meeting at work, going out on a date, maybe doing a presentation, being an MC at a big event. You just never know. But it's nice to set your intention, saying that you're willing to practice something that will support yourself through those activities, to keep you focused and to also support you emotionally.
Yes, I agree.
Sorry, I know that was long-winded, but there's lots going on about intention.
That's all good. It's all good. We got the time for it. Yes, I think, we set goals to support our intentions here at Fearless Living. And those goals can be whatever we want, that are going to be the things that we actually do to practice that intention. And Terry's talked about her intention of being healthy and having energy, and her goals of eating better and cutting it off by a certain time and walking and sleeping more and all those different goals. So I love that you brought up goals, and that we can have set goals that support us in being who we want or achieving what we want. And we definitely have talked about stretch, risk, die before. That's one of our favorite tools to share. And I definitely think that it works with the intention aspect of having that main goal that you have, and then baby stepping your way towards it, using the tool, I guess. I can't think of a better word, of stretch, risk, die. And everybody knows I love myself some acknowledgments. So anytime I think acknowledgments and gratitudes go hand in hand with anything. It's something that we should do on a daily basis, regardless of what step we're practicing or intention we have or whatnot. Gratitudes and acknowledgments are something that would be great for anyone's daily practice, because I know for myself, they support me in trusting myself more, because I acknowledge myself for those times that I did trust myself. And so that continues to build my confidence and motivation towards trusting myself more. So, Terry, what are your thoughts from what Trish shared?
Yeah, I really like the way that Trish brought up the importance of setting goals, because an intention is a statement, a positive statement of what you're willing to practice in order to reach a certain outcome. And those outcomes can be delineated in goals. And so whether it's a health goal or whether it's a relationship goal or something that you want to do in your business or just whatever that is. So by setting the intention that you're willing to practice, then the goals are what you're willing to practice. So the goals support the intention. And they can be positive, they can be empowering, they can be in the present, so that you can take action on those goals. And I love the stretch, risk, or die aspect of intentions, because in order for us to reach goals, in order for us to move forward, we get out of our comfort zone, and that's what stretch, risk, and die is all about. It's about taking those steps out of our comfort zone, whether there's something we've done before but haven't done for a long time, or there's something that we've never done before and something that really is challenging for us to do. Those are the levels of the model for stretch, risk, and die. And when we write our acknowledgments, which are ways that we can hold ourselves accountable for doing those things that we've set forth in our goals, I like to occasionally, I don't do it every day that I write my acknowledgments, but periodically I'll look at those acknowledgments in the light of stretch, risk, and die. So I'll write down I usually write 5 acknowledgments, sometimes more. And I'll look at that acknowledgement and I'll ask myself the question, was that a stretch? Was that a risk? Or was that a die? And it helps me then to calibrate my forward action. How far am I getting out of my comfort zone? How much am I supporting myself in order to take the action, to reach the goals, to live the intention that I've stated that I'm going to practice. So it's just all works together in a synergy that really helps us to move forward. And that's really our purpose and our goal in Fearless Living, is to help ourselves and our clients to move forward, to move towards that person, that being, that state of being that they want to be living within, and as Rhonda says, it's to live the life your soul intended. And I just think that's important that we have that clarity. We can write intentions around that, and then we can set goals, take action, and acknowledge ourselves for those steps that we take. So again, it's a process. And that's, I think, one of the things that Fearless Living teaches us, is that we have these structures, these processes that we can engage in that help us to move forward. And And by setting intentions and then living intentionally based upon those intentions, which are supported by goals, and then acknowledging ourselves as we make that forward movement, and just do a check to see that we're taking risks, we're stepping far enough out of our comfort zone that it's allowing us to expand our comfort zone and become that person that we want to be. So I think everything that we've said this month can almost be tied up in that process. And so Trish really stated that in a succinct way that helps us to understand that.
Well, thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. I think the one thing that I didn't say was that, one of the problems that myself and my clients seem to always have is expectations. And, it's really hard to live without having expectations. It can be quite challenging to not, expect certain outcomes or to have silent contracts with people in your life, because it just is. It's hard not to have those things. And, intentions is a antidote to expectations. When we are setting intentions, not just having a conversation, which is also a solution to expectations, but really setting intentions to not have to set yourself up for success and to not fall into the trap of those expectations is really, really amazing. Working with clients and working them through their expectations and, what they might see in relationships, what they might see at work, and saying how they might set themselves up for disappointment, right, in those situations, and working with them to have them willing to practice something so that they, are not falling in the trap of expectations or silent contracts has been really a beneficial process for me, and really keeps me coming back to intentions all the time, because it almost seems like that's a natural habit for people to fall into is expectations. Expectations. Absolutely. Of I've only ever gone on one vacation where I didn't have expectations of what was going to happen, and I mean literally that was the best vacation I've ever taken. But so often you fall in the trap of like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and it's going to be so fun, and, and then you get there and you're like, oh, it rained. It rained the whole time we were here, and then you have to recalibrate. You have to set yourself up in a different way. So I think, relying on intentions and really starting from there as the grassroots method of getting yourself out of expectations and silent contracts is absolutely really important to just re-emphasize in this discussion, and then using all these other things that we've all talked about, for goal setting and SRD and using acknowledgments to really drive those things home is, really, just something I wanted to add to the discussion that we were having.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that when you are living in expectations, you're being influenced by the past and you're trying to live in the future. And with intentions, it's the present moment, because your intentions are what you're going to do today. Well, the decisions you're going to make in the moment, the actions that you want to take to support that intention are in the present moment. And when you're in the present moment, expectations, really they can't have the effect on you that they can have when you're sitting there and thinking about, well, this is what happened before and what's going to happen next, and I expect myself to do this, or somebody else expects me to do that, and you're just like spinning in this world of expectation, which leads you to disappointment, frustration, anger, all those feelings that don't propel you forward. And so when you're living in I like to say the landscape of intention rather than the landscape of expectation, you're living in the present moment. You're saying, today I am willing to practice, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but today. And that's one of the components of intentional living. And so expectations, I think that's one of the powerful things of intention, is they take you out of that landscape of expectation and put you into the present moment and what you what you want to do and what you can do and what you're willing to do.
Yeah. And so often there's, when I think about intentions and intentional living, so much of that is about choice, right? You're choosing how you want to live, like intentionally. Like you could just go with the flow, but if you actually choose to live intentionally, you are setting yourself up to decide and to follow a certain path with your day. If you're building intentions and building your life kind of around intentions, you're also making a choice, because when if you're willing to practice, but you're choosing to do that practice, and when you start to succumb and maybe get a little unfocused throughout your day, you're also deciding and choosing to go back to that intention and refocus. So I love that, you can actually, literally choose to use intentions and to live intentionally throughout your day. So it's a decision point for me.
Yeah, I think
moment by
living
moment, right?
choosing. Yep. Mm-hmm. I think living intentionally is a choice of being at a whole new level of awareness, of what's going on, what's your motivation behind these choices that you're making. What do you want your motivation to be behind the choices you're making? All those kinds of things. It's just it's being awake at a new level in your life, and really connected to who you are and what you're wanting to create for yourself. And I think that, those are steps covered already, and I think that that's why they all of the steps play together to support each other and really being able to live a full life where you're awake and you're consciously creating and living a life that you want to live.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, Trish, do you have maybe an example of a time where you practiced an intention?
Well, I do. I know you practice trusting yourself, and I practice being courageous and, feeling connected with the present moment and the universe at large. So I have a couple different things that I do. And that's my overarching one, is to practice being courageous, and because that's also really important to me with my healing work, is to really be connected not just with, those around me, but to be connected a little bit more with the universe and, energy overall. So I do practice that throughout the year. And I modify it a little bit as I go along, depending on what I'm doing or what's happening in my life. But that's the one that I use the most. And then I do set intentions daily. So when I get up in the morning, I'm willing to say, today I'm willing to practice. And what is it that I'm willing to practice? Every day it's something different, unless I have something happening in my life that I need to be, where I need support or I need to really focus. My father's been ill for the last 7 months, and it's been pretty challenging. So, I've needed to practice patience. So, I've, put that in my intention. I'm willing to practice patience and courage. In the medical field, you really need to advocate for your family. So I've really needed to be courageous and, sometimes loud. And I have to allow that. I have to support it. So I will add that in there. Sometimes I need to make hard decisions or to say no. And, if things come up and you need that support, setting an intention and being willing to practice so you don't fall into the habit of beating yourself up if you don't do it perfectly, right? Like, those are all words that I try to stay away from. Like, I want to be willing to practice, but I don't want to fall into bad habits of beating myself up because something doesn't go the way I anticipate or I don't do it 100%. So, I'm willing to practice those, and that's how I do it. Moving forward, every day I do something, and then I have an overarching one, as you guys have mentioned, that's more broad and really pulls in my essential nature, which you'll learn a lot about if you talk to or if you are following Kelly and Terry with Fearless Generations and learning more about fearless living.
Yes, absolutely. We've been learning all about Will of Fear and Will of Freedom this weekend at the coaching retreat, and so that's all very forward on our minds, and so diving in deep on essential natures and our triggers and all of that good stuff. And this whole weekend we've been setting intentions each day, Terry and I, of how we're going to be at the workshop, and being present, being open, being lighthearted, having fun. Were part of our intentions every day. And of course, part of my intention was to take care of myself as I was taking care of the room and everyone in it. And that takes trust. So, sometimes I do daily intentions like Trish and Terry have talked about, and sometimes I focus mainly on my intention to trust. And however you do it, I suggest one at a time, especially when you are just starting to practice them. Having one thing to practice is usually a good place to start. And we hope that this month of us talking about intentions has supported you along that pathway of figuring out what intention you would like to set and practice as you move forward on our journey to becoming more fearless. And we want to remind you all that the 12 Steps to Freedom were created by Rhonda Britton, the CEO and founder of the Fearless Living Institute. If you would like to know more about Fearless Living, please go check it out at fearlessliving.org. If you'd like to know more about Terry and I, you can always find us at fearlessgenerations.org. You can look there for any workshops we're doing, our 12-month program, Stepping Towards Freedom, and all of the other great stuff that we do, and see some funny pictures as well, if you'd like. You can also see information there on our guest coaches that we have on the program, including Trish, who is with us tonight. Yes. And also you can find us on social media as Fearless Generations on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on Instagram. And we would love to have you there following us and sharing with us any comments or questions that you have about the podcast or Fearless Living and the tools that we have to share with you. We thank you for being here with us each week, and we ask you to keep coming back. Trish, what is one thing you would want our listeners to walk away with tonight?
Setting intentions is a very simple process, and it's just setting one intention and being willing to practice it for a short amount of time just to see how it helps you refocus or not even refocus, but focus on the things that are important for you.
Yeah, agree. Terry?
Yeah, I think we've given a lot of ways that you can begin using intentions in your life and living intentionally. And I believe that I just want people to remember to acknowledge themselves and write those acknowledgments down about what you did. So today I acknowledge myself for, and just take the time to reflect upon the things that you're doing that meet your intention, that keep you moving forward. And acknowledgments are a great tool for that.
Yeah, agree with both of you. Wonderful, ladies. Trish, again, we thank you so much for being on the show with us tonight.
Of course, I love being here.
Yes, we all had to stay up late tonight to be here with you.
Yes.
And Trish leaves early in the morning to go back to Pennsylvania, so we appreciate her staying up late with us and doing this show for all of us. So we thank you again for being here, and until next time, everybody, be fearless.
Be fearless.
Be fearless. Good night.
Good night.